Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Nick Beasley Show. This is a special edition because we're talking about the 2025 Reeses Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. I've got my boy JB on the show with me tonight. He's going to be down there. We got Zach McKINNELL from FCS Central. And we've got my podcast partner. You guys know him. You guys might love him. You might not. I don't know. But RJK Forever, Rodney Knight is on the podcast tonight, boys. It's a special edition, a little Thursday night because ain't no football on. So we ain't watching football. So we're going to be talking football. Let's get into this. I want to talk about the quarterback's draft stock. And JB, I was looking back. After the draft, me and you did a live stream where we talked about like Bo Nix and Michael Penix, how they elevated their stock at the
Right.
Senior Bowl. Who do you think out of this group of, what is it, 6 quarterbacks coming out that we
Yep.
know of that are
Yep.
big names? Who out of that group is going to be the one to kind of become like the next Bo Nix, the next Michael Penix, and elevate their name into the first round?
Man, so with this class right here, the obvious answer is Jalen Milroe, but he's already projected to be a first round, depending on how many quarterbacks go in the first. Because right now, if you look at Mel Kiper's board, Jalen Milroe is the 4th quarterback on the board. So
Yeah.
normally it's about 5 quarterbacks that go, roughly 5 quarterbacks go in the first round every year. So that will put Jalen right in the first round. The other quarterbacks, we got 2 quarterbacks that's playing in the national championship on Monday. You got Riley Leonard for Notre Dame. You got Ohio State's Will Howard. So I'm anxious to see what they can do to up their draft stock because you haven't heard their name in the first round. I haven't heard them.
No.
Interesting guy, Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart could be a first round pick. He has all the tools. He could be something like a Bo Nix. It will be one particular coach or coordinator will fall in love with Jackson Dart, just like Sean Payton fell in love with Bo Nix. And Nick, I don't know if you remember that. I said Sean Payton is gonna let Bo Nix fall in his lap, and that's what happened. He fell right in his lap
Yeah.
because nobody else wanted Bo Nix. Not in the first round. They probably would have took a flyer on him in a second. But Sean Payton fell in love with Bo Nix, and he didn't have to trade up for him. He just fell right in his lap. Now, in the situation, the reason I say Jalen Milroe, because he's in that spot where we know Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, probably the top 2. I think Dart may go before Milroe, but this is where the Senior Bowl is important. If Milroe goes out there and outperforms Jackson Dart in every aspect of the game, and then you have the pro days and the combine is going to be very key because Jalen Milroe will win the combine similar to what Anthony Richardson did. He won the combine. He won all the physical, the jumping, the throwing ability, all of that. Running the 40, he did it. Jalen Milroe's going to win the combine because he's the most athletic quarterback out of the crop. So Jackson Dart is going to have to win the interviews. He's going to have to be great on the field during a whole Senior Bowl week. And he may pull away from Jalen Milroe because right now, if you ask me, they're 3-4. They're right here. Either one can be 3 or 4. But we know for sure that Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders are going to be the top 2 quarterbacks. So we got a bunch of talent that's going to be at Senior Bowl. I'm excited for it. But that's my stake on the quarterback stock.
Zach, you go next. What is your opinion on who might elevate their draft stock in the Senior Bowl week?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. Like, I think it's a obvious consensus that Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are 1 and 2 in this class. And I'll be honest, I think the gap between those 2 and the rest of the class is massive. Like, I think if it weren't for it being a quarterback position, I don't think there's another first round grade in the class. And I think Shedeur might be borderline late first, in my opinion. Like, Cam Ward's the only surefire top 10 pick in the quarterback class, in my opinion. Now, an interesting one, just to kind of give you guys another name, because I agree with you, man. I think Jackson Dart's the guy I'll look at just in terms of athleticism, arm strength, scheme wise. Like, he's kind of the prototypical guy that always kind of emerges late in this process. But I want to throw another guy's name. You mentioned Bo Nix. Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon is a guy who's kind of similar to Bo Nix, who comes with 8 years of experience. He's been in college forever. I don't think he's going to blink in the moment. He's got the arm strength, the athleticism. I think he's a guy who could sneak up. Like, do I think he's going to be a first round pick? I don't know, but I do think he can maybe fall in that Jalen Hurts type of role where you see him go early second, somewhere in there. And if he falls to the right situation, he's a guy who could be a real steal. But if someone falls in love with him in this process, I think he's going to kill the interview process, all that. He could be a guy who could slide into the late first if someone gets super desperate for a quarterback. Because we all know there's teams in the top 10 that are hungry. If a quarterback's there, they're going to take them. While there's other teams that are semi-hungry, right? They're starting to get that hunger. If he falls and it's 18, 19, 20, and there's a potential trade there, they could trade up, kind of like the Lamar Jackson situation. If he falls there, they could trade up into the 30s, late 20s, and snag like a guy like Dylan Gabriel, Jackson Dart, someone like that. So that would be the guy I'm looking at, Jackson Dart and also Dylan Gabriel at the Senior Bowl.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And to piggyback off what y'all said about Jackson Dart, I honestly think the best fit for Dart is going to be Pittsburgh. I think he has a lot of intangibles similar to Big Ben. He's not as big, and he's more athletic. But I think he has a lot of intangibles, arm strength, his accuracy, all that's very similar to Big Ben when he was coming out. And we know Russell Wilson's not going to be re-signed probably by the Steelers. And Justin Fields might be re-signed, but he may not. And you bring in Jackson Dart, that's similar to the Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts situation where Carson was a starter, then Jalen came in and he won the team over, he won the locker room over, and he became the starter. I think Jackson could go in as the backup to Fields, prove himself in camp, sit for the first couple weeks of the season, and then eventually they kind of move on from Fields and bring in Dart. And similar to like what Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr. was in Atlanta, where you knew eventually we were going to see Penix. We didn't know when, but we knew eventually it would happen. Right. And that's exactly what ended up happening.
Right.
Nick, Rodney, who do you think would be a good fit or is going to elevate that draft stock?
So pretty much piggybacking to what Zach said, I think out of all the 6 quarterbacks that's going into the Senior Bowl, I really think Dylan Gabriel is going to be the one that could leap higher into the draft because obviously we already know that Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, they're going to be the top 2 quarterbacks, no ifs, ands, or buts. I think with Dylan Gabriel, like Zach said, he has a strong arm. I think he has good leadership. And even though Oregon lost to Ohio State in the playoffs, I really think that Dylan Gabriel, talented-wise, and also he's different from everybody else. You know, left-handed quarterbacks. You know what they say about left-handed quarterbacks. I think from what I saw with Dylan Gabriel this year and seeing he was in the Heisman Trophy race earlier this year, I really think he'll be that 3rd quarterback coming out the this draft. I say, looking at the top 10 picks, here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Some teams are not like needy for quarterbacks this year because of 2 reasons. One, they already got a quarterback that's locked up contract wise, or 2, they already have a younger quarterback and they don't want to spend a 1st round pick on a quarterback because no disrespect to, you know, Milroe, Howard, Gabriel, Dart, and all those guys. If you look at the top 10, a lot of them are not going to spend a 1st round pick on a quarterback unless it's Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I think Dylan Gabriel may be a 1st round pick. It will probably be a late 1st round. It's not going to be at like the lottery pick in the top 10. But I think Dylan Gabriel will be that 3rd quarterback to come out. And I think potentially he could be a late 1st round quarterback pick.
I like that. I think Dylan could go late in the 1st round. I just seeing Jackson Dart, enough tape on him from obviously him playing in the SEC and the years that he played against Bama. And I don't see Dart getting out of the 1st round if he's there for the Steelers. I don't. Or early in the 2nd round. I do want to go back to something Zach said, though. Zach, you said that you really see Shedeur as more of like a middle 1st round or late 1st round pick. Rodney, I'm going to troll you for a minute. Here's what's going to happen. The Cowboys going to hire Deion Sanders. And Shedeur is going to fall to the Cowboys just like Bronny James fell to the Lakers. The only difference is Bronny's actually seen the court in his rookie year. Shador won't see the field unless they get rid of Dak, who will not trade his. I saw this today where it was like rumored maybe Dak gets traded to the Giants or the Raiders. I think people forget Dak has a no trade clause. He's not going anywhere. Why would he leave the Cowboys where he can make plenty of money after his playing days to go play for a franchise that, quite frankly, neither one of them are ready to win at all. At least you can say the Cowboys will make the playoffs. Well, actually, no, you can't. My bad. I'm sorry, Rodney. I had to do it. I had to do it to you for a minute, bro. You ain't getting past it.
Now, another thing, I just wanted to add on another thing. He's not going to be at the Senior Bowl, but another quarterback we got to talk about, Quinn Ewers. We got to talk. I think we should say something about him because he's not going to be at the Senior Bowl, but there's 7 quarterbacks in that draft adding on Quinn Ewers. So, what do y'all think about Quinn Ewers?
I believe Quinn Ewers would have, if he would have committed earlier, he would have got that invite. Now, the quarterback from what is he from Louisville? Tyler Salt.
Yeah,
He's
Tyler Salt.
he's at Senior Bowl. I guarantee you, Quinn Ewers would have got that invite over him if he would have put his name in. He didn't. He just put his name out there. It was rumors that he was going to go back to college. He had like a $8 million NIL from
like Michigan State or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it could have been Oregon or Oklahoma or something like that. But I mean, he decided to bet on himself. I would have took the money. I would have took the money, go back to school, guaranteed.
I think he needed the extra year.
I think so too. He's not going first round. He may not go second round.
He probably, I think with Quinn Ewers, from what I saw and seeing with Texas, they wanted to replace him with Arch in the first place, who's going to be a hell of a talent in the next couple of years. I say with Quinn Ewers, from what I saw, he made it far in the college football playoffs. I see Quinn Ewers as probably like a 3rd, 4th round pick.
Yep. Career backup.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised though, to be honest. I mean, because I'm from Mobile, so I remember going to the Senior Bowl from like 03 onward.
Yeah,
there's a chance he gets an invite in the next week or so. Like, I would not be surprised if Ewers shows up at. Yeah, or he goes to the Shrine Bowl too, because from the word I got, Shador's committed to the Shrine Bowl, but Shador's not playing in the Shrine Bowl.
Right, he's just there for the press.
Yeah.
The interviews and things like that.
When you're going to be a top 5 pick, you're not going to, try to get yourself hurt. So he's a top 5. In my opinion, I know what you said. He might be a middle. I think Shador is going to be at least top 10. He could be top 5.
He'll be a top 10.
Yeah,
agreed. In my opinion, like if I was giving it a grade, I think Cam Ward, even so I look at these quarterbacks. If you put them in last year's class, where would they rank? I think Cam Ward probably goes ahead of Nix. I think Cam Ward probably goes ahead of Penix. I don't know if Shador goes ahead of either one of those.
Right.
I'll say from the tape that I've seen with Shador, he's got the arm, he's got the mobile ability. I just think with Shador, and I even told Nick multiple times, I think the absolute best place for Shador is without a shadow of a doubt, Vegas, because you already got Brock Bowers, you already got Jacoby Myers. Just get him a dependable offensive line, get him a running back to it doesn't have to be someone like Josh Jacobs. Get him a good running back, get him a capable offensive line. You already got Brock Bowers, who's already a top 5 tight end in the league. You got Jacoby Myers, and he'll thrive. He will absolutely thrive.
And check this out. I don't know if you guys know this, but Brady worked with Shador over the off season, working with him physically, and he signed to the Brady brand. The first athlete signed the Brady brand, so it makes a lot of sense. I actually thought Dion was going to get the Vegas job, which he still may, but they said they're not talking. It's been no contact, but who knows? But that's a perfect fit for Shador.
Yeah,
I think regarding the Vegas job, I think it's basically at this point, I think Ben Johnson's the one that's getting that job.
Yeah,
because he's been the front running name, especially this week. Brady is going to be in the same building as him on Sunday? Or do the Lions play Sunday or Saturday?
I think they play. Oh, they play Saturday. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Brady's going to be in the same building as him. They're going to have a conversation. I think Brady wants Ben Johnson, and I want to point this out because I've tweeted it out just because I'm kind of trolling a little bit. Ben Johnson having his relationship with the Lions, Dan Orlovsky has said that coaching is something he would like to get into. And on today's episode of McAfee, he said that he had a coach reach out to him that's not a current head coach that's preparing to become a head coach about if he was serious about being a quarterback coach. I think Ben Johnson could end up hiring Dan Orlovsky as a quarterback coach or an offensive coordinator in Vegas. And so I put a tweet out with both of them in Vegas gear today, just kind of to get the pot started a little bit. Because I think if you put Shador in that situation with an offensive coordinator that has turned Jared Goff into an MVP caliber player, and you give him a guy in Dan Orlovsky that knows the quarterback position so well, and more importantly, knows how to study tape, and the greatest of all time is part owner of that organization, I think Shador's a shoe-in Hall of Famer after year one in Vegas, with those people around him helping him.
And you got a top, and like I said, you got with Brock Bowers. When I saw Georgia, I knew Brock Bowers was going to be a bad man, and
Well,
sure
I was
enough,
glad
in
he
his
left
rookie,
Georgia.
and sure
I was
enough, he leaves Georgia. He made Stetson Bennett look like a really good quarterback at Georgia, and look what happened with Brock Bowers. He's an All-Pro in his first year, and in my opinion, if he keeps this up, you will see Brock Bowers in the Hall of Fame.
he broke records. He broke records this year as a rookie. So yeah, he's gonna be fine. Him and Lad McConkey. I am glad them boys ain't at Georgia no more. And I know JB being an Alabama fan, he's glad them boys ain't at Georgia no more.
Well, hell, they couldn't
They,
beat Bama.
what? They gave us some headaches. So that they
Yeah,
couldn't beat us, but they gave us headaches. Which, by
that
the
just
way,
Back
goes
to
to show you all the talent that's
Rodney's an
coming
LSU
through.
fan. He doesn't know what winning is. Rodney's a Cowboys
hey,
LSU fan. He doesn't know winning.
hey, hey! At least we won a Natty in 2019.
Oh, that's nice. Have you won one in this decade?
Yes, 2019. Oh, 2020s. Okay, you
I
got
said
me.
decade. I didn't say century.
Well, has
Let's get
Alabama
into the
won
next
in this decade?
2020.
2020.
Yeah, whatever.
And we would have won last year if the offensive coordinator called a better play call on the line against Michigan. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But let's go to this because this is Zach's bread and butter, the FCS standouts for the Senior Bowl. Zach, I'm going to let you take the lead on this. Who from the FCS ranks do we need to pay attention to at the Senior Bowl this year?
I mean, I think there's two guys. So the guy who I have graded as the number one FCS prospect in the class, David Walker from Central Arkansas, he's an edge rusher, man. He's been unbelievable, man. So this kid started at D2, actually. He was under recruited. I mean, I've talked to him before, man. He was like 5'9", like as a senior in high school, and just had like a late growth spurt. Now he stands at 6'2", 260 edge rusher. And in 3 straight years at Central Arkansas since moving up, 63 tackles for loss, 31 sacks, and just won the FCS Defensive Player of the Year this year. And he was a finalist for the FCS Defensive Player of the Year for 3 straight years and has won 3 straight Conference Defensive Player of the Year awards at Central Arkansas.
Wow.
The kid is just unbelievable, man. And like, I look at his game, and the thing that really sticks out is his ability to be disruptive in the backfield. To me, I don't really like. I want guys who create negative plays on my defensive line. Like I really, really value that when I'm scouting guys, and for him to be able to do it in the pass rush game, him to be able to do it in the run game. He's very, very disciplined in the run game, and I really like that. Real active with his hands, and I really think he's going to shine in one-on-one drill, like one-on-one opportunities at the Senior Bowl when you get those pass rush drills, and even in the run. In the different run drills for defensive linemen, and he's athletic enough to step back into coverage and be kind of like more of like a Sam backer in the NFL too. So his versatility to do that is I think is going to be a big thing. Now, the one thing I am curious to see with him is he's a bit of a stockier guy. He doesn't have that elite length that you always see with edge rushers, where they can keep the offensive lineman's hands off of him. So I really do want to see how he's able to handle some of the bigger offensive linemen, longer offensive linemen at the Senior Bowl, and it'll be a really big test for him. And the other guy he's my number 2 prospect. I flip back and forth on him all year. Charles Grant at William and Mary, offensive tackle. I think he can move down to guard at the next level. Man, only 10 pressures allowed on over 400 pass blocking snaps. He's like a 2 or 3 time FCS All-American. Man, when I talk about, I like my tackles to be athletic, man, and be able to move. He is so quick and agile for a guy his size. He can play anywhere between 285 and probably 310. Really gives you a versatility. He could move inside with his height. He's probably gonna measure in about 6'4", 6'5", somewhere in there. But he was on one of the most dominant run offenses in the FCS. And listen, man, he's got the core strength, the foot speed. I think this guy could come in, start year 1 at the NFL level. And so I think both of these guys are going to work themselves into day 2. And I even think I like Walker more because of the importance of tackles in the NFL. Charles Grant could work himself into late day 1 conversations, in my opinion, with a good showing at the Senior Bowl. And the other thing is, man, his arms are unbelievably long, or they look like it on film. I'm very interested to see what his arm length is when he measures in, because he's going to be an absolute problem in one-on-ones, man. And I mean, there was time, I want to say he didn't allow a sack in like 2.5 straight years at William and Mary. So the kid's just been unbelievable for them.
You said
Man,
he hasn't allowed a sack in 2.5 years?
Yeah, it was like a streak of that. I don't remember if he allowed one this year, but I know the year before he was, if I'm not mistaken, the highest graded offensive lineman in the FCS. Didn't allow a sack all year long. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, like, you turn on the film, it is just ridiculous. I mean, so in his junior year, had 334 pass blocking snaps, allowed 1 sack, and graded above 90% in 7 of the 10 games.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I got
and
a
then
question for you. I got a question for you, Zach. So you said David Walker, that's the edge rusher from Central Arkansas.
Yes.
Okay. Charles Grant's the O-line from William and Mary. So
Yep.
since we're talking O-line, what you think about Jackson Slater from Sacramento State?
Man, I'm really glad he got this opportunity. So he actually was going to go to the Shrine Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, is actually where he was supposed to go. A really, really versatile guard, can play some center if you need him to. I think he's probably going to see time at both. My question for him is, I think he's really, really good as a run blocker, right? I think that's probably where he excels. In pass blocking situations, though, I do think he struggles a bit just from the film I watch with quick, those really twitchy guys. You think of like an Aaron Donald or someone like that, the guys who are a little bit undersized and bring a different type of speed to that interior spot. But Ben, if you try to bull rush them, that's not the game that you want to play with him. But I mean, this is a guy that I want to say started like 40 something consecutive games. So experience is there, played in one of the toughest conferences, and his size is great, man. He was playing at like 316. He played over 3,100 career snaps, only allowed 4 sacks in his career. So, I mean, he was a consensus All-American this year, 3-time FCS All-American, was a sophomore All-American. And also, too, I really like guys who have experience playing multiple positions. He's played tackle, guard, and center. And so I think that versatility helps him. I do think, so if you guys remember last year, Mason McCormick coming out of the draft from South Dakota State, I would say he's Mason McCormick if you just with like a little less oomph to him, I guess is what I would say. He's just a step below Mason McCormick, who was really good this year, started all season for the Steelers at guard as a rookie.
Okay. Yeah, that his name came up with Sacramento State, with them being in the news and new coach and all that. And I was like, okay, we hardly ever get Sacramento State guys coming in, but I had to ask you about that since we were talking about O-linemen.
I remember, I think it was when me and you did the podcast, Zach. I think you told me about the edge rusher and to watch him this year.
Yep.
That is incredible. Like his numbers, also the lineman's numbers are absolutely incredible. And it still blows my mind that at this point with NIL and the transfer portal, that these guys are at the FCS level and that they don't get the recognition they deserve from like the mainstream media. Like you don't see ESPN talking about the FCS teams unless it's like North Dakota State and South Dakota State. Like
Yeah.
that's literally
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Yep.
they don't talk about FCS schools.
Hmm.
So that's why I wanted to like talk about the FCS players because I know last year watching McCormick play for the Steelers has been incredible. Like I think he might be one of the best guards in football. Like he might be one
Yeah.
of the best offensive linemen in football. He might be. He's honestly right for me. He's right there with Penei Sewell for one of the best players, one of the best linemen in football,
Ooh, I don't know
in my
about that
opinion.
one. He's
I,
good, but listen,
I
Panay
love
Sewell
Penei, but
is like the
I
gold
think
standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but I think Mason's got the talent to get to that level. Maybe he
Yeah.
wasn't there this year, but I think next year he will be. And
He,
I mean that's a young offensive line in Pittsburgh too. That's a team that could take some of these guys out of the FCS level, these linemen, and bring them up and develop them because they need offensive linemen. They
yeah,
don't have a
I
lot of
mean,
depth there for the Steelers.
with Mason, it kind of aggravated me. Just he was a little bit I guess, overlooked in the whole draft process. Like, I watched his performance at the Shrine Bowl, was murdering people at the Shrine Bowl in one-on-ones. I mean, it doesn't matter if they came from Bama, Ohio State, Auburn. It didn't matter. I mean, he was killing people. And then watching his film from South Dakota State, man, I mean, he was unbelievable. And in my opinion, I had him graded as an early second round pick, and for him to fall all the way down to like the fourth round was just unbelievable to me. Like, he killed the combine too. He ranked first in multiple different athletic events. And if you guys remember at the Senior Bowl last year, Dylan Lobby got a lot of credit. He kind of broke out from New Hampshire at running back,
Yeah.
went to the Raiders.
Yeah.
The guy who's pretty similar, so I would say he's not as good of a receiver as Lobby was, but Marcus Yarns from Delaware is a very, very similar athlete to him, where he kind of offers that versatility. I mean, he had over 800 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns receiving, was a 2,300-yard rusher, struggled with some injuries, but he's an extremely quick, elusive running back, really, really good vision in the box. And also, too, his ability to be a pass catcher just increases his ability. He's a top 5 FCS prospect in our rankings, and I think Marcus Yarns is a guy you probably could look forward to, especially as someone who could just be a breakout candidate. Because this year, I want to say he was limited to like 4 or 5 games due to injury this year. So if he can stay healthy, man, he's a guy who could really have a breakout performance.
JB, your mic's muted.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're
Yeah,
good.
we got you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I said I was taking my notes on these FCS guys, man. That's some good.
Yeah,
That's some good content right there, Zach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to send me some notes, bro, because I'm gonna need to know these guys when I go this year or the
I
second
got
year.
you.
So I don't have another. I don't know who it was that I didn't know last year. The offensive lineman I didn't know. I felt so bad. I felt so bad. So when I originally got the letter or the email that I wasn't invited back at first, I was like, oh no, that's why. I was like, crap, they found out. I'm dead. And then they were like, oh no, we made a mistake. I was like, thank God. Because I thought I did well other than that one mess up. And I thought, oh no, that one mess up. That lineman told them, and I'm never getting invited back. But worked out, and I'm going to be able to go, and Rodney's going to be able to go with me. Dude, Rodney is so fired up for this, bro. He has probably called me or texted me like 100 times a day how excited he is for this opportunity. Because other than like before me and him like became partners, he's never really done like the media stuff. So he is very excited for this. So give me 1 second. I got to plug my computer in. But Rodney, why don't you tell them how excited you are for this?
Oh man. So yeah, I've never really had an opportunity like this, having an opportunity to like interview, players, whether it's, professional, whether it's college, et cetera, et cetera. I've done stuff like this in the past. It's just this will be my first time having that experience. And then also seeing, some of the coaches coming from the NFL as well. And then also you're going to have a chance to meet other media outlets from, different states. So this is obviously going to be, a good opportunity. And then there could be a possibility that players that are not even going to be in the Senior Bowl, who knows? Some of them may pop up. There could be a small chance that, Shador Sanders or even or Cam Ward or even the Heisman Trophy winner, who in my opinion is going to be the top pick in the draft, Travis Hunter. There may be a slight chance that they might be at the Senior Bowl because they're going to have some of their teammates at the Senior Bowl themselves. And then, Nick, you said yourself, she's a sponsor of Reese's. She may be there, but you said yourself, Angel Reese could be there as well.
I don't remember bringing up Angel Reese. If I did, I don't remember it. But I mean, I didn't know she also didn't know she was a sponsor of Reese's. I
Because I
had no
think
clue.
because I think you had told me that because it's her last name. Because you did tell me this. I just didn't remember for sure.
I
But
think
I
she
don't
got
remember
some
that.
kind of endorsement with Reese's. I think she got an endorsement. I don't. She may.
I
Be
might have
there.
said it. I don't know.
know. Yeah.
Dude, honestly, the conversations we have when they're not, if it was on a phone call or if you text me during football, I don't remember what I said. And that's not just with you, that's with everybody. Like, I'll tell my family, if you need something, don't call me, don't text me until after football's over. I'll text you when I'm available. So I don't remember if I said anything or not. But let's go to this right here, because this is a position that I thought shined last year for a lot of guys. Really helped out Luke McCaffrey and several other players. The wide receivers to watch this year. JB, I know you said you got the roster over there, and
Yeah.
it is a long roster. What wide receivers do you think we need to watch out for this year?
Man, so I know you mentioned about the receivers that shine. Hell, Lad McConkey shine, and who was the receiver that got picked by the 49ers? They got shot.
Ricky Pearsall.
Ricky Pearsall. Now, Ricky Pearsall stood out last year, and
We talked
people
about it. He was not going to be a second round pick coming into that draft without that Senior Bowl.
No,
without what he
and
did.
he went early to the 49ers, and people were surprised. But the Senior Bowl did that because he showed out. Now, this year, Jack Beck, TCU, watch out for him. He's very productive. I think he's gonna turn some heads at Senior Bowl. Also, Tez Johnson, Oregon, wide receiver. Bo Nix's brother. They got a real close relationship. Tez Johnson is gonna, he was great at Oregon, very productive. He's out there. I think Tez Johnson is gonna tear it up. I
think Bo will be there.
He may be. Yeah, he may be out there for support.
I got a couple guys. I got a couple receivers to look out for. But
there's another guy.
JP.
I got one more guy, Pat Bryant, from Illinois. Big target. Pat Bryant was very productive. So I actually wrote his name down. I want to ask him some questions. But he damn near went over 1,000 yards this season for Illinois. And Illinois didn't really have a quarterback. So yeah. But it's a whole list of receivers, man. They had Kyron Lacey's name on there, but I doubt he's gonna be there. So somebody may take his place.
I don't think he'll be there.
Somebody might take.
I don't think Lacey's gonna be there anymore.
Yeah.
And I got about two or
got a
three.
kid. South Alabama's got a kid, wide receiver.
Yeah, they just announced
Jamal
it today
Pritchard.
that he's gonna be there.
Jamal Pritchard. So he's gonna look the show out as well.
And by the way, I love the fact that obviously it's at South Alabama, it's on their campus, so they're gonna want to represent. But I love the fact that they pick a kid that a lot of people, unless you followed them, you haven't really heard of. They picked that like last year. Carter Bradley, was that the quarterback's name?
Yeah,
came out with South Alabama.
Yeah.
He ended up going to the Raiders. I don't know if was he an undrafted free agent?
I think he was. I think he was an undrafted free agent.
I still don't know if he gets signed to an NFL team though without that Senior Bowl, because he played. Because I think what was it? Was it Penix didn't play the Senior Bowl, and so Carter got a lot of the snaps. So I think that helped him a lot being there, and obviously he knows the area, knows the field, he knows everything about it. So I do like that they pick a player every year and bring them out.
I want to say he's the brother of Nehemiah Pritchett. If you guys remember the kid that got out of that, is that with the Seahawks out of Auburn?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe
is that his brother?
I believe so, because Jamal actually started at Tuskegee at the D2 level at HBCU in
Yes,
Tuskegee, and he
he
balled
did.
out at Tuskegee and jumped up to South and balled out. So, I would want to say Nehemiah was in this game
He was in
last
this
year, the
game
year
last year. Yes,
before.
he was. He was. Yep.
So I know they went to the same high school. I wish schools would be better with like putting family information, but I believe that that's his brother, if I'm not mistaken.
Brother or
I
cousin,
think
it
if
could
you
be.
Google
Yeah.
his, I think if you Google his name now, you'll find it because him being a professional athlete, you should probably be able to find
Yeah.
if that's his
Yeah.
brother or not. But Zach, any of the FCS wide receivers that maybe
No.
they're not going to be at the Senior Bowl, but guys we need to
Okay.
watch out for anyway in the draft process.
I mean, it's not a. I'll say this is probably not a super deep wide receiver class for FCS. Like, Efton Chisholm's probably your best receiver coming out of the draft.
Yeah,
If you remember, he came out of Eastern Washington where Cooper Cup went, and he was like right there behind Cooper Cup in a bunch of different statistical categories. So like over his career, I mean, he had 3,800 yards and 37 touchdowns, had 1,313 this year. And he's kind of built, he's like a smaller version of Cooper Cup. He's like 5'11", 200, but has like kind of the same ability almost. So another guy, but I'll say this, there is a former FCS guy that's at the Senior Bowl, Daquan Felton out of Virginia Tech, started his career at Norfolk State, another HBCU in the MEAC. And man, he was balling at Norfolk. I remember his sophomore year, he had like 600 yards, 7 touchdowns, first team, all conference selection, goes to Virginia Tech, continues the success. So I think Felton is going to be a guy who's interesting. Plus, he's like 6'5", 215. I love guys who are built like that at wide receiver who I can just trust to go win those one-on-one matchups. So I'll be very interested to see how he does in one-on-ones.
I'm looking forward to all the one-on-ones because I think it was last year Quinion Mitchell. He shined at the Senior Bowl in one-on-ones
Yes.
as a DB.
Yeah.
He was the
Suffocating.
best
And then
player.
he ended up going to the Eagles, and he's balling right now in Philly. He is
I was
balling.
telling everybody who wanted to hear that Quinion Mitchell was gonna go first round. A lot of people didn't really know who he was because of the school he was at, Toledo. And I said,
Right.
hey, Senior Bowl, he was the best cornerback out there, and
He
he was the
was.
fastest.
He should have went
He
top
was
15.
hands down, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It does. I do find it ironic. Go ahead, Ronnie.
So I got about probably 3 receivers on my list that I would probably pay attention to really in regards to the Senior Bowl. So number 1, I got Jaden Daniels out of Iowa State. First is the size, 6'4", 214. He's got the height, so obviously that's going to be really good coming for a receiver. Got 87 receptions for over 1,000 yards for Iowa State. So I think number 1, Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State. Number 2, obviously I got mention somebody from Georgia. I got Arian Smith. Now the size is going to be something that might be a red flag to some teams. Only 6 foot, 185 pounds. I mean, we said that about Devonta Smith. He needs to build some muscle, but obviously with Devonta Smith, he made it work. And look at what he's doing with the Philadelphia Eagles. But
People
only
said that
had,
about Tyreek Cooper though too. People
and
said
look what
about the size
happened.
of Tyreek and Cooper.
So I think Arian Smith out of Georgia, I think is someone else to also pay attention to. And then someone else, one last person, like you said with Tyreek Hill, he's a small guy, very small. So, but I think he could potentially make some noise as long as he's got the speed. Tej Johnson out of Oregon, 83 receptions, 898 yards, had 1,000 yards in 2023, 1,082 yards and 10 touchdowns again. But the size, just like what you said with Tyreek Hill, he's Tej Johnson. He's 5'10", 165, so he is way small. So he's really going to need to stand out at the Senior Bowl. I think his speed is going to, will leap him up. And as long as he keeps up, as long as he has good hands, good speed in this Senior Bowl, I think he could turn some heads in this Senior Bowl. So those are 3 receivers that I'm looking out for in the Senior Bowl.
You stole my second one because I don't know if many people know this. Jaden Higgins also is a former FCS guy. Played 2 years at Eastern Kentucky, All-American, All-Conference guy at Eastern Kentucky before transferring up. So another former FCS. Man, the transfer portal did a number on FCS. There's a lot of guys who are going to get drafted who are former FCS guys that went up to the P5 level for a year or two and now balling out.
Yeah. That's the good thing about the transfer portal. Those FCS guys coming from those schools come up to the major schools, make a name for themselves, go get drafted. I mean, that's the good part of the portal.
Right.
Yeah, but the negative part is when the FCS guys that are really good, super talented come up, then a lot of people don't pay attention to FCS and they don't even remember that they went to FCS schools because they bought at a P5 level. So then the FCS schools kind of get knocked down a peg, which is why we have people like Zach, who runs FCS Central, does everything he can to build those guys up. Obviously, the Blue Bloods podcast. I see the logo behind you. And then also JB, what you've done with Alabama State this year.
Yes.
I'll be honest, I didn't follow a lot of Alabama State until I saw you were covering them. I was like, hey, I'm gonna watch every Wednesday when he talks about it because I want to know more about those boys.
Well, we're gonna have to get you on the show, man. My co-host is the assistant head coach at Alcorn State.
Oh, okay. That's dope.
Yeah, we
That's
cover
dope.
a whole bunch of HBC football, man. I was at the Celebration Bowl, the SWAC championship. I was at Jackson FAMU this year.
Damn.
I went up to Bama State that last year with Prime when they had like the whole handshake debacle.
You was there?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm down.
Yeah, so they have actually, guys, they have the HBCU Legacy Bowl is the HBCU version of the Senior Bowl, and Bama State's got 6 guys that's gonna be there. I applied for credentials, haven't heard anything back, but if I get them, I'll be in New Orleans when they have that. So
if you don't get it,
when is that?
It's mid-February.
It's
I want to
say it's after.
Yeah,
I know it's a week after the Super Bowl.
If you don't get it, man, get my contact info from Nick. One of my guys, one of my writers for the SI site I've run is a national scout, and he knows Doug Williams personally. Man, we'll get you in there because I've covered the Legacy Bowl every year since it started, and so I'll be down there. And man, we like I'm telling you, I'll say this: Bama State probably has a top 10 FCS prospect, James Burgess. If you do not know the name, I want to say he's I forgot which bowl. He's going to one of the All-Star games, man. When you look at like a guy like Mikey Victor last year, tall, rangy corner, could get on roster. He's like 6'4", it seems like, man. And he is shut down 4 picks this year. He's the 9th best prospect in the FCS according to our rankings. The kid is a monster, man. So as a kid, I would watch some film on.
He was at the Hula Bowl. This past weekend. Yeah, James Burgess, one of the best corner. He has a chance to get drafted. Somebody's gonna take a flyer on him. If he don't go late in the draft, he would definitely be signed to an NFL team.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
And JB, I'll definitely get you Zach's contact information. Even if you do get
Same
the pass,
here.
I'll still get it to you. Just make sure. What'd you say, Ronnie?
Oh no, I was saying I'm definitely interested as well, Zach, with Alabama State. I'm definitely interested too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I'll get the contact. I'll get Zach's contact information to JB and Rodney. And I mean, hey, if I need to learn more about the HBCU schools and more about those talents. So I mean, if you could get me in, I'd love to come down there as well and watch and work with the talent down there. So, but yeah, man. So we're gonna go Senior Bowl, right to the HBCU Bowl. Let's do it. But I do want to talk about. We just talked about the wide receivers to watch. This is gonna kind of cover. It says Alabama player draft stock, but it's gonna cover Bama State, Bama A&M, UAB, all those schools that have their in Bama, including, and I hate to do this because I hate to give them any shine or credit. It's actually going to cover Auburn as well. Yeah, I got we got to throw them in. All the schools in Bama. I see the face JB's making. JB don't want to cover them either, but part of the job, we got to do it. We got to do it. Hey,
I got no problem with them in the off season.
Yeah, in the off season. The regular season, when they talking, that's the problem.
I think we already know who's number 1 out of all Alabama players. I think we might have a good idea. I'm surprised. I thought you was gonna say Milroe.
It is Milroe.
You don't know me very well. Look, bro. I've not been the biggest. Look, I ain't been the biggest supporter of Milroe. I ain't been like JT and been a hater of Ty though. JB, you got to talk to JT for me, bro. He hates Ty Simpson.
I don't know why.
It feels like I feel like he's taking personal shots at me when he talks about Ty. I'm like, bro, Why you hating on Ty? And look, I don't know if Ty is going to be the guy or not, but we got to give him a shot. We gave Mac Jones had the 1 year at Bama and he won us a natty.
Well, I'll tell
So
you this. This is gonna be Ty's last opportunity. If he don't get the job by the end of the spring, he's gonna have to transfer and move on.
He needs to go
gonna
to
have to,
UT Martin with his dad.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
No
So
shot
you're
at
out on
him.
Ty
I
as
just
well? Oh, okay.
no. I'm an FCS guy, so man, can you imagine Ty Simpson at UT Martin?
Oh yeah.
He is throwing for 5,000 tomorrow. Because
Yeah,
UT Martin's a pretty good team. They were in the they won the first round playoff game 41-10 this year and made it to the second round. Lost to the runner ups in Bozeman.
But JB, obviously you probably watch more football. You and Zach watch more football than more college ball than I do for sure, and maybe more than Rodney. So who
Yeah.
are the Bama guys out of the state, not just out of the University of Alabama, that you can see making a shine for themselves at the Senior Bowl? I know the Auburn running back,
Jarquez
was it
Hunter.
Jarquez Hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be at the Senior Bowl. Who are some other guys out of the state that you could see making a shine for themselves?
All right, so let me just start with the Bama guys. I have it on good authority that Malachi Moore will not be participating in the Senior Bowl.
Right.
He was recovering from the surgery, so he's going to be there. His name is on there, so he'll probably just be there, soaking it
He's
up,
doing
interviewing.
media.
Yeah, doing the media.
Yeah.
James Burnham, man, the punter. So Burnham could possibly get drafted. He's a great punter. He didn't punt a lot, but when he did, he was effective. So James Burnham, that's a name. CJ Dupree. Now I want to see what he does in the mix with the tight ends. We don't talk about tight ends a lot, but I like to see the tight ends go do one-on-ones. I saw it last year, and a few tight ends stood out. I think CJ Dupree has an opportunity to get his name in the top 5 of the tight ends coming out of this draft class. You need to be in that top 5. It's very, very important because tight ends usually don't get drafted high unless you're like out of this world talent. So I'm excited to see what he does. But let's talk about Auburn for a minute. Jarquez Hunter, he's one of those running backs that he's gonna go out there try to prove something. I actually saw where he was interviewed by somebody, and he said he wants to show his athleticism at the Senior Bowl. So we know he's a power back, he's a workhorse back, but I can actually see Jarquez Hunter going mid to late in the draft, going to be productive, being like a sharing the backfield with somebody. But he's also a guy that I'm looking for, and it was another guy from my Alabama school I'm looking for. Alabama A&M. So they have a offensive lineman, Carson Vincent, who will be at Senior Bowl. It's another guy from the HBCU. I want to see him. I'm going to watch him closely. I'm going to try to get an interview with Carson Vincent. He got the invite out of Alabama A&M. Very excited to see him and see what he does as well.
Yeah. You mentioned Jarquez. When I watch Jarquez play, I see a mix of, and it's 2 guys that came out last year. I see a little bit of Blake Corum and Cody Schrader.
Yeah.
I think he's a mix of the 2. And you mentioned going and being behind somebody. I think he could be a very kind of like the Lions have Sonic and Knuckles. I think he could go to the Chargers and behind JK or behind Gus Edwards, be that third down back that can get you 5 yards if you need it or 6 yards if you need it. I think I've seen Jarquez obviously play against Bama. I think he's got the speed to get you 5 or 6 yards and be a third down back, and I think he has the hands to do it too. I think that's the thing.
He's got to show that.
to.
He's gonna have to show that, and in the passing drill. And Jarquez, let me tell you another thing about him, man. He the way injuries happen in the NFL, you can be a 3rd, 4th string running back by mid-season, you're starting. So the production that he had in the SEC, he needs to go out there, have a great showing, and combine, see what he does as far as 40 time and all that. But I think he's going to be a very interesting name come April.
Who was it? I interviewed him last year, talked to him at the Senior Bowl. He got picked up by the Packers. Marshawn
I know you're
Lloyd
talking about from USC.
out of USC. Yeah, I think
I can't think
you
of his
mentioned the
name.
injuries. He ended up being a starter for the Packers this year when some guys got banged up. When Josh Jacobs got banged up and some other guys. So like, I think Jarquez can be very similar to that. I think Jarquez can be very similar to David Montgomery. He's a power back, but he can also burst through the hole and he can catch on third down if you need him to. Because I think Montgomery's got the hands too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Zach, anybody that you know of in the state that we haven't mentioned that could end up making a big jump?
I mean, the main guy, started kind of already taking Carson Vincent at Alabama A&M, another FCS guy.
Yeah.
I think this is a big moment for him because I'll be honest, like he wasn't horrible, but he kind of struggled against Auburn this year. And with these FCS guys, you have to shine against FBS competition, especially P4. And he struggled. It was game one, and I feel bad, right? Because he really took that next step later in the year. That's a guy who I think is going to kill anything physical, man. He's like 6'7", and he's got the arm length, all that. I think he's going to be really, really good in pass blocking. Extremely patient, good with his hands. He has a good anchor, even though he's a little bit underweight, just due to his height. He'll be a guy I'm looking at. And also, too, Eugene Asante from Auburn at linebacker, too, is a guy I'm looking for. Just because you look at the type of linebacker that is successful right now, it's those hyper athletic linebackers that have a little bit of size on them. And Asante battled a little bit of injuries, man, but he's great playing sideline to sideline, extremely athletic. I think he's a guy who could shine in an environment like this.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like JB, you're muted again.
All right. I don't know. It's a habit.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll get to messing with something on the computer and end up hitting the mute button and not even realize it.
Yeah.
But Rodney, anybody you know of out of the state of Alabama, or since you're in Georgia, anybody out of the state of Georgia that you could see shining at the Senior Bowl that is going to be there, or shining in the draft process?
So obviously, I mentioned Arian Smith, wide receiver out of Georgia, and Alabama. Obviously, is going to be. I know you don't like him, Nick, but obviously,
hold on. I like Jalen Milroe. I just feel like Jalen never got a. I'll say this: Jalen never got a fair chance at Bama because he had different offensive coordinators and a different head coach in the years that he became a starter. He never got one system to shine in. I think his best year was last year, and then the whole coaching staff left, literally, including the greatest of all time, and
Yeah.
we have a whole new system come in, and Kalen DeBoer was putting in the system for his guys that weren't there yet. So I think that's the only thing I got against Jalen. I like him. He's a good dude. I can't wait to talk to him. I'm going to talk to him at the Senior Bowl because the quarterbacks are my bread and butter. I watch all the quarterback film. So I'm going to try to talk to all the quarterbacks if I can. I was so close to getting an interview with Bo Nix last year, and then somebody pulled him. Literally, like, we're all standing around him, and I was like, I'm next, and they pull him. I'm like, dang, bro, come on. Because that was the only chance I got to talk to Bo. That sucked.
If you want to talk to Jalen Milroe, you're going to have to get in line with 100, 200 people because I'm going to tell you this. Jalen Milroe is going to be the star of the Senior Bowl. He's going to be the star of this show. So, yeah. And I think I got the cheat code because I know his dad. I know Quentin. So I may be able to.
Hey, man. We friends here. We ain't competition now. Come on.
I know Q.
Help your friend out. Help your friend out.
At some point of the week, at some point of Senior Bowl week, I would get my one-on-one with Jalen Milroe. But he's definitely going to be the star of the show, man. That's what everybody's going to be talking about. They want to see what he's going to have the microscope on him. From the moment he steps on the field to the moment he steps in media day, it's going to be a Jalen Milroe. Just like it was on Penix and Bo Nix last year.
I will say, and this is something that obviously the three of us know about. Rodney, you don't. So they do have after practice, they have about a 15-minute media period. Mm-hmm. That is not the time to try to get your one-on-one. Because it's only like 15 minutes, and they buzz the alarm, and then you have to get off the field immediately. If you don't, they take away your credential. So just, and you'll hear the buzzer, so you'll know. Because I was trying to get Sam Hartman last year one-on-one, and I started trying to get him on the field, couldn't do it. That got media days. That's going to be your chance to talk to anybody one-on-one. I was able to talk to Sam, Michael Pratt, Spencer Rattler, those guys one-on-one last year in the media day, which will be at the. Is it going to be at the Mobile Convention Center again this year, like it was
Yeah.
last year?
Wednesday afternoon, I believe, evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting down there Monday night, and then so I'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for all the practice and stuff. Rodney, I know you said you'll either be down there Tuesday or what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday? You'll be down there.
I'm probably going to leave either Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning, but I'll definitely be there by Wednesday at least. And I already know by no questions asked, the number one player I want to interview is Dylan Gabriel. Obviously, I'm paying attention to all the quarterbacks as well. He's the number one
Yeah.
guy I definitely want to interview, Dylan Gabriel. And someone else I also want to try to interview as well, obviously because his brother is in the league as well, playing the same position that he is, running back. Also want to interview Trevor Etienne. Obviously because I want to see, what kind of attributes that he has, and if he has anything that he took from his brother, seeing that his brother, Travis Etienne Jr. is, playing running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to see that how is he going to stand out himself, and is his ultimate goal to potentially be better than his brother?
I think that I feel like that's everybody's goal to be better than your older brother. I mean, I'm not saying Luke McCaffrey's ever going to be better than Christian, but you can't tell me there ain't some sibling rivalry there, and you can't tell me Luke ain't been giving Christian some stuff for the fact they in the playoffs and he not. Because both of them are in a position where they really can't control the playoff situation for their teams because they're not the quarterback and they're not the coaches, so they are position players. And I know Christian was at the game in Tampa because that photo came out of him and Luke hugging. You can't tell me Luke didn't give him a little, hey, by the way, I made the playoffs the year you didn't, and I made the playoffs as a rookie. Come on, Luke giving him some stuff. Which, by the way, Luke was somebody that I wanted to interview last year, didn't get the chance to. He got pulled away real quick. That's another thing, Rodney. Some of these players will go to the podium and they will give you time, but also their agents and teams want to meet with them, so they'll get pulled away. You can be in line to meet with somebody, and then they're gone. It happened to me twice last year with Luke and with Bo, so just be prepared for that because that will happen. That happened with me. I'm sure it happened with JB. Um, the only guy I remember interviewing last year that he wasn't Lad McConkey gave, I think, the most time to people. I think Lad gave the
Yeah.
most time when he was there because he genuinely just wanted to talk to people. He didn't bother him like the timeline and stuff. Like he genuinely just wanted to talk to people. So if you get somebody like Lad, then you're good. But if you get somebody like Bo and not a shot at Bo, I love Bo Nix. Rodney knows this. Bo was my offensive rookie of the year until I had to admit there's going to be Jake Daniels. I went through some rough patch. I went through a rough patch on wildcard weekend watching Bo lose to Josh because I love both of them. That's my MVP and my offensive rookie of the year, and I had to watch them go against each other, and it hurt, man. It hurt, and it didn't help that when we got on the podcast, Rodney goes, "So what happened to Bo?" Immediately, that's the first thing come out of his mouth. So I almost fired him on the spot. I was like, "Get out! I'll replace you. I'll get Seaway in here." That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take JB's partner. By the way, hey JB, we need to get Seaway and Rodney on a show together, bro. Because I mean, we need to get their opinion and see their opinion align about the Cowboys. Because I love trolling Seaway, and I mean,
Wow.
I'll be trolling Rodney, bro. But let's go to this because I want to talk about it. The list released last night. The coaches for both teams. Obviously the head coaches will be Mike Kafka, the Giants offensive coordinator, and then Bubba Ventro, the special teams coordinator for the Browns. Did I say that last name right for him?
Ventrone, yeah, Ventrone.
Yeah. Let's go to Zach. Zach, what are your opinions on the coaching staff this year and how they'll be different from last year's staff coming into the Senior Bowl?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't put a whole lot of stock into the staffs. Just because I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's important for these players just to get experience being coached by NFL coaches because it's a different type of timing, it's a different type of communication, it's a different rhythm, it's a different pace, it's a different speed of the game too. Like everyone talks about the speed of the game on Sundays or Saturdays wherever you play. The speed of the speed of the game is different in practice, and like it's going to be a lot different for them. Like I really don't have any opinions. I don't think it really matters what teams they come from. I just think it's important for these guys to get in front of NFL scouts and NFL coaches and get that experience.
Right.
I
Because the
know
game is a
Mike
lot
Tomlin
fast.
was
The
there
game is
last
a
week.
lot faster. So they're going to need to talk to those NFL coaches because the speed that it is in college is a whole lot quicker and it's a whole lot bigger and than it is, in the NFL. It's going to be a lot different.
The only takeaway I have is that the Giants and the Browns will both be in the market for a quarterback. So they'll
Exactly.
be able to get a close look at the quarterbacks that will be at the Senior Bowl. So they will have 3 on each team. So they'll be able to look at these quarterbacks to see real close before everybody else does.
I think
I just don't like the position of the Browns. I don't. But after you, Nick, I don't like the position of the Browns because there's a slight chance that the wrong quarterback, in my opinion, is going to go to the Browns. I said
they can't be worse
Shador
than
should.
Deshaun Watson.
I
They
say
can't
I
be
said
worse than Deshaun.
Shador should go to Vegas, and I said Cam Ward should go to the Giants. And with the Browns, out of all the quarterbacks that we've talked about, none of them are going to get drafted number 2 since Cleveland is number 2. So, I mean, no Cleveland, yeah, no Cleveland's number 2. So, it's not looking good for Cam Ward and Shador.
Here's the thing. I mean, what does Tennessee do? Do they trade down? Do they take a Cam Ward or Shador? I tell you now, Shador's not going to the Browns. Dion's not letting Shador go to the Browns. I can tell you
Obviously,
that now. I can
obviously.
see. I could possibly see him at the Giants.
Yeah.
He's gonna pull a Phillip Rivers. Now I could see him going to the Giants possibly or the Raiders. I mean, something tells me I think him and Malik Neighbors got something, a little friendship, a little something going. But
Well, the biggest question is, JB. Well, to all of y'all, is Travis Hunter going to go number 1?
he might. That's
It depends. If
very
Tennessee doesn't trade down, then yes.
That's a good question. But guys, a lot of we're looking at this now, but it's about 4 or 5 teams in the top 10, top 12 that need quarterbacks. They're gonna need it.
Yeah.
Hell, the Browns, Watson is not going to play next year. Watson is done. He may need to retire. He's not going to be ready. Jameis Winston is not going to be the starting quarterback of the Browns. They're going to need a quarterback. The Giants definitely need a quarterback.
Right.
Hell, the Texans may, but the problem with the Texans is they have drafted quarterbacks and they failed. They failed with Malik Willis. They failed with the jury's still out on Will Levis, but he was benched this year for Mason Rudolph.
I don't make it doesn't make sense to me, JB, that and I've said that to other people. I don't think the Titans should make that move, number 1, to draft a quarterback, because even though they weren't first round, in 2 out of 3 years, you drafted a quarterback still, and Malik Willis looked better in Green Bay than he did with the Titans. And Will Levis, it's only 1 year. I wouldn't give up on Will Levis after 1 year. And the sad thing is, when you think about it, the best quarterback that the Titans have had since Steve McNair has retired is Ryan Tannehill. And he wasn't even drafted by the freaking Titans. And Marcus Mariota, their highest quarterback drafted, who was number 2 overall in 2015, he wasn't worth a damn with the Titans as well.
Yeah. They've had bad luck with quarterbacks, man. I tell you that. And they spent a lot of money in free agency last year, and now they're picking first in the draft. That's what got the GM fired. When you spend all that money, you go get a Tony Pollard, you go get a Calvin Ridley, you load this team up, and you finish last, and you picking number 1. Now what do? Do you have money to go get a quarterback?
If you'll remember though, they traded D-Hop. They got him out of town because he just wasn't happy in Tennessee anymore because they weren't winning. So he goes to the Chiefs. I think that was the one where they were like, okay, the old GM traded AJ Brown. and now you're
Yeah.
trading DeAndre Hopkins.
And that was the start of the decline when they traded AJ Brown for a bag of chips.
When Mike Vrabel, and you remember that draft when Mike Vrabel, I think he threw his phone because he was absolutely pissed.
Yeah.
Bro, you have Mike Vrabel throwing his phone, but then you also have the video of Jason Kelsey because he was hanging out doing a draft watch along, cheering. He was so happy, bro. But I looked up the draft order. So Tennessee, and their number one need is a quarterback, according to NFL.com. The Browns' number one need is a quarterback.
2.
New York, their number one needs a quarterback. They're number 3.
Cam Ward.
The Patriots don't need the quarterback.
They got Drake May.
The Jaguars don't need the quarterback at number 4.
They got Trevor Lawrence, number 5.
The Raiders, they need the quarterback, and they're in the worst spot because they're number 6. And the Jets, if Aaron Rodgers retires, they're going to need a quarterback.
They need a quarterback. And then if you go down, the other teams don't need quarterbacks from 9 to 12. They don't need from 8 to 12. They don't need quarterbacks. Carolina, Saints, Chicago, San Fran, Dallas. They all don't need quarterbacks.
Well, hold on. Jerry Jones might just draft him a quarterback. Because why not?
Jerry Jones got to draft Ashton Genty and sit down somewhere.
He ain't gonna. But here's the thing, though, bro. He ain't gonna. I said this last night that the T. Higgins will end up with the Commanders in the offseason, and then Jerry's gonna say when they don't sign T, well, same thing he said about Derek. Well, he may not have the same season if he was on our team because that's just not our offense, bro. But here's the saddest part. I don't know if y'all seen the clip of him acting in that show or not. Jerry's not crazy because according to everything I read, that was not scripted. That was Jerry just off the cuff. So that proves he's got some talent. Maybe he should act like he's a GM of a football team and an owner.
Yeah.
But I noticed something else though. You mentioned the Titans have always had problems with the quarterbacks and with the GMs in recent years. Ownership. It's ownership. Same thing with the Jets. I'd put the Browns in the same spot because you cannot tell me that the family who's the family that owns the Browns? The ownership group for the Browns?
I forgot his name.
But honestly, I don't see the Titans trading unless I do see this happening only because I think they have a good relationship. If Tom Brady makes a phone call to who is it, Brian Callahan, the head coach of the Titans, I could see the Titans trading down with the Raiders. But the Raiders are going to have to give up a haul in order to get to that number 1 spot. And then they won't have the draft picks and the draft capital to get a team around Shador or Cam Ward.
That's
which I think if it's the Raiders, it's going to be. If it's the Raiders, it's going to be Shador.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't think Shador. I don't think the Raiders need to trade the number 1. I think they should trade the number 3. I'll give them number 3 or number 2. I say number 2 because I think number 2 will be best for Shador.
Well, my thing is this though: Cleveland's not moving out of that spot, and New York's not moving out of 3. So their only bet to get up there to get Shador is going to be to move to number 1, and they would have to give up a haul in order. Like they would have to do what the Panthers did to get up there to get Bryce Young. They'd have to give up a player and draft capital, and they're not moving on from Brock Bowers. I don't see them moving on from Jacoby Myers.
Nope.
Any of their offense, they're not moving on. They might move Max Crosby. Max is the only one I could see them moving.
Max ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he ain't.
I don't think Max is going anywhere. I don't think so either.
But that's the only one they could even entertain moving to get the number 1 spot. Because if you're Tom Brady, you call Cleveland. You think they're going to help you out? No.
Obviously not.
No. Maybe Tom can call up Joe Shane and be like, "Hey man, you did beat me twice." I don't think they will though.
But it's not going to help out. because I
But it's
think
too late.
because you're going from 6 to 4. I think Shador is going to be gone by then at number 4.
Right.
So that's not going to help.
Right.
And
If the
does
Titans if the Titans take Ward, there's no chance of trading up
no.
Mm.
because the Browns aren't
Also,
moving and they're going quarterback regardless of who's there. So if the
Mm.
also
Titans
you
take
mentioned New
either of the
England.
quarterbacks, it's over.
You
Yeah.
mentioned New England moving into that 6th spot. Well, then you let Travis Hunter fall to Jacksonville because he won't get past Jacksonville.
That's right. That's right.
If
The
I'm the
two
Patriots,
teams, the two teams I said for Travis Hunter was Jacksonville and New England.
Mm-hmm.
if I'm New England, I'm not trading out of my spot for anything. If I can get Travis Hunter, can you imagine him and Christian Gonzalez?
Oh yeah.
Can you
At
imagine
corner?
him
Oh yeah.
on the offensive
Locking
side
down
first?
shit.
Also on the offensive side, because I think he'll play both ways. I don't know if he'll play. He won't play full time both ways. I
No,
think they'll
you'll
have
not play
packages for him on the
No.
offense, though. They'll have packages for him on the offense. And Drake
Yeah.
May's arm strength with Travis Hunter's speed,
Yep.
there's no shot. If I'm New England, I'm not. New York's not moving because they gotta hope that Tennessee or Cleveland doesn't take a quarterback. Your best bet if you're New York is Cleveland or Tennessee sign Kirk Cousins before the draft.
That
That's the only
remember,
way.
I've
That's
heard
the only
reports
way
about
you're
that
getting out of that.
Yeah.
because
The
there
only
were
way you're getting out of
reports.
that.
There were reports. So Atlanta is going to cut Kirk Cousins, so that way they won't have to pay him the $10 million signing bonus.
No,
And I
they'll still
did hear
pay him.
reports. I heard reports that if Kirk Cousins is cut, Cleveland may be the team to swoop him up. So that frees up a spot, for Cleveland, because if they do that, they don't need to draft a quarterback in the first round. They could maybe get a
Yeah,
quarterback
then
in
they
like
could
the
take
third
Travis.
round.
Yeah.
Well, then
And
they
they can
can take
actually
Travis.
trade out of that second. That's that number 2 pick. Get you a first round pick for next season because that number 2 pick will be coveted, especially if the Raiders want to get Shador before the Giants get him at 3.
But that's the only way the
But
Raiders move up.
what if
If Cleveland
Travis
signs
is
Take in front of the Giants. The Giants will take Shador.
what if Travis is drafted number so let me say this. If Travis Hunter is drafted number 1 by Tennessee, and if Cleveland gets Kirk Cousins, then the only choice I think for number 2 is for like I said, and I told Nick, I think the Raiders needs to go from number 6 to number 2, especially if the Cleveland Browns do sign Kirk Cousins in the offseason, because you have Kirk Cousins and Jameis Winston competing for the starting job. And then also, I think with Cleveland, if they do get Kirk Cousins, they'll probably get a young quarterback like a third, fourth round, like a late round, so they don't have to pay him the first round money and whatnot. So I think with the Raiders going from 6 to 2, you have almost a 90% chance to draft the guy not only that you want, but who you need, Shador Sanders.
But here's
And
the
I think
thing.
go ahead.
You mentioned if Tennessee takes Travis Hunter, they're not. They're taking Cam Ward. Because here's my thing. You look at next year's draft class of quarterbacks, there is nobody that's on that level of Cam Ward. Nobody. Even if Arch was to come out after 1 year.
Arch might be
don't.
there.
Arch
Yeah.
No, Arch is staying his 2 years. They said Arch is going to stay his 2 years.
They can
I
say it
know
all
what the
they
Manning
want,
family
but if
said,
he
but-
goes if Arch goes out and wins the Heisman next year, he's gone.
He's gone. Yeah.
But if you're Tennessee, though, you don't know there's a guarantee you're going to be in that top spot again to get Arch. Especially because Indianapolis might be tanking to get Arch. Because I think Jim Irsay wants Arch because he wants the Manning in the building. I think he'll be tanking.
There you got Carson Beck next year as well. Carson Beck.
I'm not big on Beck.
The quarterback class is much deeper next year because you have Arch potentially, Lenoris Sellers potentially, Nico potentially. You also have Jalen Daniels finally coming out. You got Garrett Nussmeier coming out of LSU. You also got the kid at Arizona State coming out. In my opinion, next year's quarterback class is probably deeper. Miller Moss will come out of where did he transfer to? Louisville. I want to say, Drew Aller's coming out. You got so I think next year's quarterback class is I don't think there's as I think Arch is obviously high number one. You don't have
Right.
two guys like Shador and Cam in that class. I mean, listen, Nico and Sellers, they have so
Are
much
great
potential,
players.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah, they're
think
great players.
Sellers was playing the best football in the country toward the end of the year. So
He
maybe
played great
they
against
click.
Bama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I do think the class though is deeper. And then you add Beck into that. I think next year you could see 5, 6 quarterbacks go in that first early second round. This year, there's those top two. And then we just talked earlier about how all those other guys would probably be day two guys potentially in terms of grade. Next year's quarterback class is deeper. So even if you don't have the number one pick, you probably can get a serviceable quarterback potentially.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
if you're the
I
Giants,
do
Zach,
wanna-
after you, Nick, I'm gonna ask my question, Zach, after you, Nick.
my only thing is I don't see Tennessee with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph as your roster, you passing up the opportunity to get Cam Ward. Because also if you're Tennessee, you don't want to be back in that position. And I I genuinely think the Colts are gonna tank. They kept Ballard and Steichen. I think they're tanking. And I think they're doing it for Manning. Because I think Archie I think Peyton and Eli will do what Archie did for Eli. They'll make sure Arch goes somewhere in the draft that's comfortable. Just like
Right.
Deion's gonna do for Shador. They're not letting Arch go to a bad situation.
I don't think Arch is going to Indy though. You got to think like look at Arch's whole career. He never wanted to follow in the footsteps of anybody. He immediately eliminated Ole Miss, Tennessee,
Yeah. Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
schools that his family went to. He said
Right,
he wanted
yeah.
to pave his own path. I don't think he wants to go to Indy.
What about
But that could
so?
be another thing of like them tanking or like Peyton and Eli making sure Arch goes somewhere else. Arch
What about New York? Because remember a lot. So here's the thing. Say if Cam, just like you said, Nick. Say if Cam Ward is drafted by Tennessee, and of course, say if the Raiders trade up to number 2 to get Shador, that clears out the top 2 quarterbacks. So Zach, say if that does happen, do you think the Giants will wait next year to potentially get the number 1 pick? And if he does come out, do you think they'll get that chance to get Arch Manning?
They could. If I'm the Giants, if Ward and Shador off the board, I'm not going quarterback. I'm just taking the best player
Yeah.
there. And you can argue it. Listen, I mean, you could argue if Travis is there, you could argue Abdul Carter, you can argue one of the offensive tackles. Like I'm getting a weapon to have in my arsenal for when I do get a generational quarterback. I'm not
I think
reaching
Travis is
on
the way to go.
yeah, I would go Travis personally because
I'll go
also too,
Travis.
let's not forget we're talking New York Giants and there's a big elephant in the room no one's addressed. They have never drafted a black quarterback before.
Right.
And they have never
Yeah.
given a black quarterback a chance. Bro,
Yep.
who even knows if they're looking at Shador and Cam and everything.
Right.
And then also, too, my concern is listen, I'm a big Cam Ward fan, man. Listen, I knew him at Incarnate Word. Like, I want that kid to go to and same for Shador. He was also FCS. I saw them both play. I would rather them go to any situation. I would rather them go to Cleveland and tough it out rather than go to New York because you guys know exactly what's going to happen if either of those guys go to New York. They're going to have an
with Joe
average
Fang.
white backup, and if Cam or Shador struggles early, you already know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
They're going to
Mhm.
bench him. They're going to bench him for like freaking Max Duggan or somebody like that,
Drew
or
Lock.
someone or some
I think Drew
trash
resigned.
quarterback, and
Yeah.
and it's going to be a whole situation. So for me, New York, if I'm Shador and Cam, bro, I would rather go anywhere other than the New York Giants right now.
Yeah.
Well, that could be somewhere
Yeah.
where Dion pulls like if Shador's about to go to the Giants, that could be where Dion goes. Nope, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
He's not.
If I'm
Same thing with
Deion-
Cleveland.
playing in that
Yeah,
division.
Same thing with Cle-
Cleveland,
yep, same thing with
Cleveland and the Giants. If I'm Dion, if I'm putting myself in Dion's shoes, Cleveland and the Giants, I'm pulling it.
Yeah.
I agree.
I know.
I agree.
I would trust Cleveland a little bit more with Shador, only because Kevin Stefanski is a really good coach, and you know he's going to be taken care of, and there's no shot of him getting pulled early if he struggles because they stuck it out with Deshaun Watson until he got hurt. So they're not going to pull the trigger and pull Shador to put in Jameis Winston or Dorian Thompson Robinson or whatever.
Yeah.
But like you
The
said,
only
though,
thing
New
is the
York
money.
is going to
It's
pull
the
that plug.
money.
It's going to pull the trigger.
It's the money to me because here's the thing though, because all the money that you got tied up to Deshaun Watson, do you think Cleveland is going to want to draft that high of a quarterback? Because you already know if you look at the contract wise, whoever they draft at number 2, they're probably going to get about what 30, 40, maybe even $50 million
Yeah,
contract.
30 million at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to remember that rookie year, they're not going to make much. It's going to be very similar to the Broncos situation. They may have to pull the plug, cut Deshaun Watson, pay out the rest of his contract, and then draft a quarterback because that rookie year you're not going to make as much. So then, and then the next year it's going to be less money you're having to pay to Deshaun Watson, and you may have to trade away Myles Garrett. You might have to do it. I have seen that going around. That Myles Garrett may get traded from Cleveland, especially if they have to cut Deshaun Watson. That way they can save some money in cap. But I think you have to do it.
That'd be
Mhm.
such a bad.
That'd be
Yeah,
bad.
bro. That's like
No, I
like
agree.
trading
That's
away
a
a
bad idea to
generational
get rid
edge
of.
rusher.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I say Baltimore is the best team for Myles Garrett. Baltimore.
Oh
Somebody
man,
else we're not talking about though in free
Myles
agency.
Garrett, he's one of those players that really and truly there's not a best fit for Myles Garrett. Wherever he goes, that
He's gonna
team
be great.
instantly. It's like who was the edge rusher that got traded a few years back? I'm blanking on his name. But it'd be like trading Von Miller in his prime, bro. Von Miller
Yeah.
could go to the worst team in the league, and he probably adds 3 wins to that team.
Yeah, and won a
He's still
Super
doing
Bowl.
great.
He went to the Rams.
Yeah,
He won the Super Bowl with Broncos.
Yeah,
and
he
the
won.
Rams,
Yeah. Just imagine on that Baltimore defense, Roquan Smith and Myles Garrett and
If
Kyle
it's all
Hamilton.
10, I don't want to imagine that.
They're not going to trade him to the division rival. I tell you that.
Yeah, I don't think they would go in
Whoa! We've seen that happen a few times.
Yeah,
We've seen
because
that
they
happen.
know Miles is gonna destroy them.
Because
They might not
because
lie, there's a difference.
it
There's
was
a
years
difference.
ago. It was years ago. But here's a prime example. Donovan McNabb was traded to the Washington Redskins in the same division. So it was years ago, but
he was washed though. He was washed.
Yeah, but he wasn't the same Donovan. Like they wouldn't have traded 2005 Donovan McNabb
he
to
was
the
washed, man.
like they traded like that's like when Dante Culpepper went to the Dolphins. That wasn't the Dante Culpepper that was at Minnesota. He was washed.
Yeah.
when they could have got Drew Brees.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
That's
they
why
signed a
they've
washed
been-
up Culpepper. He want the same player.
Hey,
It's
it
kind
all
of like
worked
how
out
the
for
Browns
Saban.
got Watson. Like the Texans would have never let Watson go to the Browns if he was the Watson that he was his rookie year, his second year.
Right.
Watson was not the same player.
Yep.
Because when he was wanting to get traded, everybody was like, he's going to go to an NFC team. There's no way he goes to an AFC team. And then he ends up on the Browns, and we see why now he ended up there.
Yeah, the
'Cause when he
Texans
got
didn't
traded,
care who got
everybody-
him.
Yeah.
The Texans
I-
won. They won, man, and then they end up with CJ Stroud and they're in the playoffs.
Yep.
Right.
and with Will Anderson Jr., and both of those were picks from that Deshaun Watson trade. So, like, it worked out. But no, Myles Garrett is going to be somebody that he can be 40 years old and he'll still be destroying people. So, like, he'll be like
Yeah.
Aaron Donald. That'd be like Aaron Donald going to the 49ers. That would never happen. And that was never going to happen.
I'd be sick. Can you imagine
That
that
would be
defensive
cool.
line with Bosa and like and what they still have Armstead?
Fred
Yeah.
Warner.
That'd be a
Yeah,
great-
Fred Warner.
That'd be a great team in Madden, but it will never happen in the NFL because it's not gonna. It ain't gonna happen. But I will say though, we mentioned Kirk Cousins, another quarterback that a team could sign depending on what Minnesota does.
Sam
Sam
Darnold.
Darnold
Sam
could go
Darnold,
and
yeah.
sign with the Titans, and then that takes the Titans and Browns out of the quarterback market. So then you got New York and you got Vegas sitting there with New England and Jacksonville not needing a quarterback. You could see maybe a trade up, but I don't see the Raiders getting away with not giving away a player though. That's my only thing
Right.
because that's a deep drop off from 1 to 6 or from 2 to 6.
You would probably have
And-
to give up like so much draft. If you don't send a player, you're talking about sending like 3 first-round picks and like another
Yeah.
second and some mid. I
And
mean,
is
you would
Tom
lose
Brady
like
gonna be one of
all.
those? Is Tom Brady going to be one of those F those picks owners that doesn't care? Because if you'll remember, the New England Patriots were built on draft picks.
But if he wants to get the guy that he absolutely wants, he wants Shador Sanders. If he's gonna have to do everything he can to get Shador Sanders, and I would say at those picks if he really wants Shador.
Yeah. Now what they
I don't think
could
it's
do,
Marty's style, though.
what they could do, he could possibly trade 4 to 6. I'm just saying, if Travis Hunter's gone, the Patriots at 4. If he's already gone, you don't need a quarterback. Trade with the Raiders, and then just move a couple picks up, get you a pick for next year. And if you're looking at this, the Jaguars not taking a quarterback.
Right.
The Patriots, or no, you could actually sit there and wait because the Patriots don't need a quarterback either. So it's really, the draft is depending on these top 3 teams. It's 2 quarterbacks. It's 3 teams that need quarterbacks. Who's gonna make the move? Who's not?
Right.
I just feel like
and if they sign quarterbacks,
I think because of his relationship with Malik Neighbors and them having a close bond, I think Shador could override Dion and be like, "No, Dad, I'll be fine. Send me to New York."
He may want to go to New York. He wants the spotlight. Shador wants
but the spotlight will be better in Vegas.
I know it would. I know.
It'll be better in Vegas because you got 2 guys that's going to help you out, and you got someone who's already top 5 in his position. So that's why I think Vegas is the best spot for Shador, and it's Vegas. It's Vegas.
Another thing though with Vegas, they don't. I mean, they've got Brock Bowers, but they don't have a wide receiver 1. Brock is a tight end. They don't have a wide receiver.
He's more like a wide receiver 2-ish though.
Yeah.
They got money.
My only thing with Vegas is you don't know who the coach is going to be yet. I think it'll be Ben Johnson, but I also remember I sent the video to Rodney when Dion told Antonio Pierce, "Hey, I'm going to need you to draft my sons."
Yeah,
but he's gone.
But he's gone now, so maybe Dion doesn't. Dion may not want Shador to go to Vegas or go to New York. Maybe he wants Shador to sit behind a veteran quarterback like a Kirk Cousins, like a Sam Darnold for a year and learn. I'm not saying Shador should because I think he's way talented enough that he shouldn't. But you got to also remember, Dion has been his coach since Pee Wee.
All his life.
He's
yeah.
never
life
played without Dion, and Dion's never coached without Shador. So maybe Dion wants him to go somewhere where he has to sit behind a starter for a year and develop and learn.
I don't think he's sitting behind. I think Cam Ward and Shador are day 1 starters.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree.
Those are the only 2 guys that are day 1 starters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all I've got for the show. We talked about the Senior Bowl stuff, and we just spent probably about 30 minutes talking about the draft stuff. I will definitely be getting in touch with all of you again about, obviously, Rodney will be on Tuesday, but I'll be getting in touch with all of you at the Senior Bowl. Maybe we can do a show, all of us together. And after the draft, get all of us in here to get our draft reaction and kind of break down the draft and who we thought really elevated their draft stock at the Senior Bowl, which one name I'm going to bring up, nobody brought it up. We mentioned maybe the Raiders have to just take a quarterback at 6 that's not a Shador or a Cam. What about Will Howard? The way he's playing right now.
No.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, the way he's playing right now, though, and he kind of, maybe he reminds Brady of Brady. Nobody talked about Brady. Nobody thought Brady was going to be as good as he was. And who better to learn from than the greatest of all time?
But that's totally different, though, because Brady was a 6th-round pick. I don't think Will Howard is going to be a 6th-round
overall pick. Not the 6th overall pick.
I get your point. I'm just thinking if Tennessee doesn't sign Sam Darnold and they don't, and the Browns don't get Kirk, then they have to draft quarterbacks. And I'm just thinking, who might be left on that board? And I don't know.
If I'm the Raiders at 6, I'm doing exactly what I did last year with Bowers, going the best available player, and then we'll see who's there in the 2nd, 3rd round. I'm going Abdul Carter. I'm going Will Johnson. Like, imagine Abdul Carter on the other side of Crosby, that
Nightmares.
edge
Yeah. Oh
be
my goodness.
ignorant. And
Oh my
so
goodness.
I'm just
Oh man!
solidifying.
Now I want the Raiders to get Abdul Carter. Forget a quarterback. I want them to take Abdul Carter now, just for because then that defense, and then you have somebody that can get the ball to Brock Bowers, and you sign a running back in free agency. Yeah, you'll be fine. Because I think the
Since you
league is
talking
starting
about
to go
Abdul
back
Carter,
to
hell, the Browns get him. Pair him with Myles Garrett.
no.
I don't know.
I want the Browns
I
to
don't know.
suffer.
Now, if
I want the Browns to suffer.
Man, listen.
For
Get
what
Kirk
they did
Cousins
to
and then
Baker
go get Abdul
Mayfield.
Carter, and you good.
For what they did to Baker Mayfield, I want the Browns to suffer. They deserve this. They deserve
Yeah, they
the
did him
torture.
wrong. They
Yeah.
did him wrong.
hey, they also
But-
didn't have Mike Evans out there for Baker Mayfield. I think that does play a
That's-
small
yeah,
role there.
That's right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but Jerry
True.
Jeudy
yeah,
has
but
has real
Like people don't talk about it enough. Like Mike Evans is a first ballot NFL Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Like, and he
Underrated.
should be in the discussion for like top 10 NFL wide receivers of like all time.
Yeah, most definitely.
If,
I'm
if,
just thinking like
Okay.
Baker's good though, man. But
Well-
also,
well,
I mean,
Zach.
same thing can be said about Sam Darnold though, because I mean, he had Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, and Aaron Jones. So like, he was in a great spot. He goes to one of the other teams like the Browns or the Titans. It ain't gonna be the same Sam Darnold. We're gonna see New York Sam Darnold, not Minnesota Sam Darnold. Which
Well, the
will
Browns
hurt
got
me.
Jared Judy and
Ooh.
they got Njoku and
Oh.
Jared Judy. The Browns have talent. They
I'm
have
about to
talent.
boot Rodney off of here after he just did
He's
the
the
ghost
quarterback.
thing about Sam, bro. Hey, Sam saw ghosts. We admitted it. Okay, he's seeing some ghosts Monday night. Okay, I've accepted it. Sam Darnold is not good. I let 1 year make me think that he was good. I apologize. Okay,
He
I went
teased
through.
you. He
He
teased
did.
you.
Hey, what did I say last night, Rodney? Why don't you tell them what I said last night? What happened with them Cowboys and Sam Darnold? Why don't you tell them what I said is gonna happen?
He's not going to
Because
the
if you
Cowboys.
remember,
He's not.
Cooper Rush and Trey Lance
Trey
are no
Lance.
longer on the roster. So you're gonna have Sam Darnold, Jerry Jones is gonna look at him and say, "You are Andy Dalton." That's who he gonna be.
Oh, I
He
love
gonna
me
come
some
back up with
redheads.
that.
I love me a red-headed quarterback. So, Sam Darnold, if you don't sign with anybody else, here's a contract, Sam Darnold. Yeehaw, man, please.
Yeehaw. Hey man, Zach, I appreciate you being on here and dealing with the craziness, brother. JB,
man.
always appreciate you being on and talking football. Glad I could get all of us on at the same time. I was a little bit worried with y'all scheduling because I know I'm super busy leading up to Senior Bowl. I know you're super busy, JB. I know Zach stays busy constantly. It's hard to get a hold of him, so I'm glad I was able to get us all together to do this. JB, you talk to Seaway, and then you hit me up. We gonna get Rodney and Seaway on the same thing. And hey, maybe we can see if Jerry Jones has time on his yacht during draft night to come visit.
Hey, Jared's gonna be at
Hey,
Senior
come up
Bowl.
in Southern Steve.
Jared's gonna be at Senior Bowl, but he's not gonna be outside. He's gonna be in the press box like he was last year. Jared did not
I'm
come
here for it.
outside. Jared was in the press box
you
the whole
blame him?
time.
Would you? Yeah. Hey, I
He
wouldn't
probably
blame him
flew
for sitting
his
outside.
private jet. He probably landed his private jet and came in the back door.
I mean, hey, he got. Look, here's what I found funny, bro. So y'all know, I know Rodney knows him. Scooter on the Cowboys fan that does all the skits and stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
He said today,
mm-hmm.
bro. He said today on the live stream that Jerry Jones is cash strapped. He's a billionaire. That boy ain't cash strapped.
He got the money.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about if he gonna pay a coach. JB, I got to thinking about it after I asked the question in your live stream the other night about the black coaches and Cowboys have never hired one under Jerry.
No.
They're not hiring Dion. They go. In fact, Adam Schefter tweeted out about 30 minutes before the show started. Kellen Moore is the current front runner for that head coaching job in Dallas. The prodigal son is coming home, Rodney. Be
He's
happy.
gonna put Jason Witten on the staff.
Hey, I tweeted out today. I said, I think I actually texted Rodney. I said, you're gonna get Kellen Moore as your head coach, and then you're gonna get Jason Witten as your OC.
Yeah.
And you know who the defensive coordinator is going to be?
Robert Saleh.
Nope. Jerry Jones. That's who the DC going to be. Hey, I'm just ready for Micah Parsons to go to Philly and be with Philly in 2026. That's what I'm looking forward to. Because you know that's happening, Rodney. He ain't going to pay him. And CeeDee Lamb, as soon as he going to dip too. He going to leave as soon as he can. He will do whatever it takes. He'll pull an AB if he has to get out of Jerry's World. By the way, Rodney, have you donated to the curtains yet for Jerry's World? That man need curtains. Alright. It's getting late. I still ain't ate yet, so I gotta go eat. And I know it's late for Rodney. He's on Atlanta time, so it's like 10:30 for him.
All right.
Boys, I appreciate all of you being on here. JB, tell the fine people where they can find you.
Find me Sports Talking with JB YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that. The Twitter X is right there. Young_ENT_. Sports Talking with JB every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Central Time. And on the Bama Standard YouTube channel, we got Sunday night Talking Bama, 7 o'clock Central Time, and the Crimson Dynasty Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So I'm on a lot of shows. The Black and Gold show will be back once the football season starts. That's the ASU football show. That'll be 8 p.m. Central on Wednesday nights. I got a video for that next week. I'm posting for off-season stuff. And just tap in with me, man. And Nick Beasley, I'll be back on here soon.
Yes, sir. Hey, I gotta get on your show too.
Yeah.
On your show too.
Hey,
Yes,
Senior Bowl week. Senior Bowl, I plan on doing something each night. I'm gonna post something each night.
Where y'all gonna? I know Zach, you live in Mobile. JB, where you gonna be staying at Senior Bowl week?
I haven't made my mind up. I'll let you know. I'll make my mind up this weekend.
Me and Rodney are gonna be in an Airbnb.
Okay.
Is it in Mobile? Is that where we're gonna be, or we're gonna be outside of town?
We're probably gonna be in Mobile. We're gonna be in Mobile.
Yeah. Y'all let me know.
Yes. Maybe come by. I know Saturday night after the game, we're gonna be there watching Rumble. So if you want to come by, hang out, watch Rumble with us.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's the move.
Zach, I don't know if you're a wrestling fan, but if you want to come by, watch Rumble with us,
Hey, I might be down. I can't remember the last time I watched wrestling, man. I'm way out of tune.
No, man. Hey,
bro, I'm football 24/7. Like, bro, before this show, I was watching the FCS National Championship again. So, like, it's always football.
Man.
Good point.
It's gotten to where it's at for me, man. Like, I used to watch Monday Night Raw and NXT, Dynamite, all that. Now I'm like, on Tuesday doing the podcast with Rodney. Then Wednesday nights, I'm making clips and stuff from the podcast to send to him so he can post them. By the way, Rodney, we're not posting any clips this week because I'm not kidding you. Every clip had you cussing out Jerry Jones. That's all it clipped. That's all it clipped, bro. That's all it clipped. And I ain't posting that to my socials. I ain't letting that be on my timeline. So
I'll post it
for that.
I'll post it. I'll post it.
Man, I don't want my face on it though. My face is in the video. I don't want my face attached to that or my name attached to that. But Zach, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me again, man. The Blue Bloods on YouTube and all podcast streaming platforms. FCS Football Central on SI. Myself, my guy Timothy Rosario, Gerald Huggins, Coach Fred, all doing a bunch of FCS content, man. We'll be at the Shrine Bowl, overnighting it back to Mobile for the Senior Bowl, HBCU Legacy Bowl, man. So staying busy.
Yeah, man. I saw you post today, or maybe it was the other day, all your stuff that you got coming up the next couple of weeks, man. You're gonna be crazy busy. And but hey, you love it. And that's why you do it.
That's a fact, man. I've also we just got back from Frisco probably like a week ago or so for the FCS national title game. Went to Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl. We travel all year long, man. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, man. Hey,
we're gonna get JB. We're gonna get JB to say War Eagle eventually.
Nah,
I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that.
Hey, JB, I know you always got it on you. They ain't an official sponsor yet of the channel, Although I am trying to get them as a sponsor. I know you got it on you. Always. Shout out
Yes,
Title
sir.
Towel. Yes, sir. You know what?
Yes,
Mine's right over
sir.
there. I'd grab it. But yes, sir. Whitwell Sports, Title Towel. They are not yet an official sponsor, but hey, I'm
Holla at
trying,
'em.
man. I'm trying to get to JB level. Trying to get to JB level where
Hey, man,
where I
I
get
do what I can do when I can do it. That's all I can tell you about
Yes,
it.
sir. Hey,
Hey,
man.
I'll say that word the next time Auburn beat Alabama in football.
I like
that
it.
will
That'll be
never
this year.
Okay.
No,
all right.
well, who your quarterback gonna be?
Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, Jackson Arnold.
I
Yeah.
can't say nothing
We
because
owe him for last year. We owe him for last season.
Yeah, 1-0 against Bama. Jackson Arnold.
Mhm.
Hey. That was a different situation. All
It
right.
was. That was a bad game. That was a real
Yeah.
bad game for you
Lost,
guys.
lost a
Alabama
guy hurt.
revenge season coming up. We got Diego
Yeah,
Pavia coming to town. We're gonna whoop Jackson Donald down there in
Listen, I'll be honest. I never root for Alabama. I might root for you guys against Diego, man. He's been getting too much on the state of Alabama. Like, man, he's been
Bro,
he's been putting hands and feet on the state of Alabama.
We gonna
That
bust
can't be
him up.
happening.
We busting them up this season.
Now, of course, when them Tigers come to town, when LSU come to T-Town, we gonna make Garrett Nussmeier wish he had just went to the NFL. That's what we gonna do. We gonna just make him wish he had went back
He got nothing
to the
for us.
NFL, boy. He ain't gonna do. Hey, Rodney, who you think gonna have a worst year next year, the Cowboys or the LSU Tigers? I'm just curious.
Cowboy.
Cowboys.
I knew JB was gonna say that. I knew JB was gonna. Hey, how's it gonna feel? Because if I remember correctly, your head coach Rodney said that he was leaving Notre Dame because he wanted to go somewhere where he can win a national championship. If I'm not mistaken, isn't it Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman that's in the Natty this Monday? Man, don't you wish you had Marcus Freeman, boy? See, because me and JB, we're good because we know our coach can get to the Natty. He just had his welcome to the SEC year this year. Well, next year we're gonna be undefeated, 12-0. I've already looked. We're gonna be 12-0. Ain't nothing to worry about. We know that the Auburn coach can win games. Can you? I bet you miss Ed Orgeron now.
I don't think they do.
Anyways, guys, follow me on my stuff. Instagram.
Go ahead, Rodney. What's your socials?
Anyways, follow me on my Instagram, RJK_forever2. My YouTube, RJK forever 4. And I just want to send my condolences to TikTok. We will miss you.
Nah, I ain't gonna miss TikTok. I ain't gonna miss TikTok.
We on IG, baby. We on IG.
Yeah, I don't know what you say. Look, I have TikTok, but I ain't gonna miss it. It's just gonna be an app I get to delete and get a new app with it. That's all I care about. It's gonna free up storage space on my phone. But no, man, I appreciate all of you being on here. Zach, we're gonna get back in touch at the Senior Bowl, and then the following weeks leading up to the draft. JB, same thing. We always gonna stay in touch. Rodney, we might have to discuss your position on the podcast.
Oh,
I got a replacement for
oh,
you lined up. DJ Seaway.
oh.
I'm gonna try to get him on here. Hey, I don't look, man.
Hey, my guy, I'm gonna take your guy.
Yeah, hey, swap. Let's just swap them out. Let's see the chemistry that you and Seaway got and the chemistry that me and Rodney got mesh well with the other person. Let's do that. Yes,
I don't know. I know Seaway
hey.
for 30 plus years, so I don't think it's going.
Hey, man. Hey, the story I got to tell you about how I met Rodney, boy. We went to me and my buddies went to Bad Blood in Atlanta, and I don't know why, but out of everybody there, a whole arena full of people, we're sitting there talking. Rodney comes up, hey, can I interview y'all? Sure, man. And then we get in line to go in the arena, bro. And I don't know how, because again, a whole lot of people. This man finds us and stands with us going through the line, and then we get pictures taken after. It was a whole thing, and I was like, man, I don't think he's gonna leave. I think I'm gonna have to bring him to the podcast. because it's like he tracked us down. Hey, but it was a blessing because I love having Rodney on here. He's a great guy. Can't wait for you guys to meet him at the Senior Bowl. Uh, I am so fired up for the Senior Bowl. Like this year, because last year going into it, I didn't know nobody. I didn't really
Yeah.
have any connections. This year going into it, I know people, I got connections, and more importantly, I know what to expect.
Right.
So I can
Right.
prepare Rodney for what to expect, bro. But it's just, oh man, it's gonna be fun. Guys, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching us on Twitch, make sure to follow the Twitch. We are at 540 subscribers, so keep growing that. We're trying to get it to 1,000. I'd like to get to 1,000 by the end of the draft process. I don't think we will, but we're trying to. So make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, guys. You guys know where to find me on on the socials. It's Nick Beasley Show everywhere: Instagram, um, Twitter. That's really all I got now because TikTok's gone. And then on YouTube, you guys already know. Zach, I appreciate you being on here and taking the time out of your schedule. I know you got a lot going on, so I appreciate you making time. JB, as always, I appreciate you making time and always showing support. I, I see when you be watching my stuff. I see it. I see when you watch my stuff. I appreciate it. Rodney, I always appreciate you being on here. As I've said before, the show would not be the same without you because up until me and you started this partnership, I didn't have nobody to talk football with. Now we gonna run all off season. It's gonna be great. But guys, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment. Tell us who you think could shine at the Senior Bowl because there's a whole list of players that we missed that could probably shine. Again, Zach, thank you. JB, thank you. Rodney, thank you. We are out of here.